Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Evergreen Rx. I'm your host, Hayden, licensed mental health therapist, Cancer Moon, and the first to get deep at any party. And I just spritzed on a little fresh spray of perfume, because that's necessary for getting ready for a podcast. I downed a bag of sour cream and onion plantain chips, and I have a nice glass of lemonade that's not actually lemonade, because as simple as it seems to make lemonade, somehow I effed it up. So it's more like lemon water with some like sweet. I tried to do like a honey lavender situation. It didn't pan out, but I'm still gonna drink it. I got a whole pitcher full in the fridge. It was only about 8 Meyer lemons or something. So I'm going to drink it. Maybe I went wrong with using Meyer lemons. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I think I went wrong. I shouldn't blame it on the lemons. I think I went wrong a lot of other places. So anyway, maybe in the next podcast, I'll have given it a good old second attempt and it will have worked out better. But anyway, that's just a little status update on where I'm at. So I smell good. My breath smells crazy from the sour and onion, and I've got a glass of lemon water. So we're all ready to go. How are you guys doing? Let me know. What snack are you eating while listening to this? Or what beverage are you sipping on? And what perfume do you like to wear? Anyway, I would love to know and stay in the loop with you guys, because I think all that's very important. And it's funny to see as the podcast has gone on, the level that I feel I need to show up and present for you guys, it's just slowly decreased, which I think is a good thing, because let's keep podcasts casual. Why do you have to be all crazy? Most people are listening to the audio format anyway. But I'm like, let's just keep it low key. It definitely makes my life easier, and hopefully you guys don't mind it, because I'm not really getting as gussied up and getting my game face on as before. But maybe that just also comes with time and skill that I've gained. But so I hope you guys have liked the last couple of episodes. If you haven't listened to them yet, go listen, because I'm really liking the direction that things are moving in. I'm liking some of the questions that I've answered recently. If you guys don't know, if you're new here, you can submit your questions to be answered on a pod. You can email me at theevergreenrx@gmail.com, or you can give me a call or text at 512-655-9888 and ask me your wellness, mental health, self-growth, holistic healing, spiritual journey type questions, whatever you want, and I'll answer them in a pod, which would be really fun for me and hopefully for you as well. So in that vein, we do have a question for today, and same old hat. These are my opinions I'm going to be sharing, and I want you to take what you want and forget the rest, because I don't have all the facts. I don't have all the information. The point of this podcast is to not be dogmatic, to not be a authority figure, an expert, in case any of you guys were really feeling like I was giving authority and expert energy. But I don't want to fill that space. I feel like a lot of people are already filling that space online, and I'm just here to share what I know, what I've experienced, and start a conversation with you guys so we can all figure out our own prescription for living well. Isn't that cute? That's why it's the Evergreen Rx prescription. Okay. Anyway, let's let the customer in. Dear Evergreen, I've spent the last year or so building really solid routines. Morning meditation, journaling, movement, limited screen time, clean-ish eating, all of it. It helped me so much when I was feeling untethered, but now that I'm in a more stable place, I find myself wanting to relax a bit. Maybe sleep in sometimes, skip a workout, or scroll a little bit at night. Nothing too extreme. The weird thing is, it makes me feel uneasy. I keep wondering, am I backsliding? Am I losing the version of me I worked so hard to become? And then I get mad at myself for even caring so much about doing everything right. I guess I don't know how to tell the difference between self-compassion and self-sabotage. How do you let yourself be softer and easier without feeling like you're falling apart? Oh my God, this is so relatable. And I feel like I say that every single time I answer a question, but that probably makes sense because I think the people listening to this podcast are the ones going through the same kinds of things that I am. That's the whole point. But this one really strikes a chord in me because if anybody's been around since the very beginning of the Evergreen Rx, my first episode was on freeing yourself through ritual, I think is what it's called, because routines have been the foundation of my wellness journey. That's where it all started, back basically when I was in middle school, and then just built and got more involved since then. But, I feel like this is the bedrock for so many people's health journey, for people in therapy, like anybody kind of seeking to expand or to improve their lives in any significant way. I feel like routines tend to play a big role in this. And we hear people talk about routines all the time. Do y'all remember when bullet journaling was a big deal and like habit tracking, creating your own habit trackers? That shit was crazy. Like, I don't know if y'all were really into the bullet journal scene, but the spreads that people would do and like the art and the detail and the crisp lines and like everything was so perfectly neat. It was so crazy. I mean, like cool, but also a lot of work. And habit tracking was such a big thing. Like, check off, did I drink my amount of ounces of water a day? And did I meditate for 20 minutes today? And did I get sunshine and blah, 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 blah. And it'd be like a list of like 15 habits track every single day. And we were all like, yes, more of this. Yes, we all need it. And I think that still is true for a lot of people. I think that's still how a lot of us feel, is like adding all these habits. That's the way to like joy and happiness and contentment. I hear that all the time in the therapy office too. People are like, I just need to be better like at my like healthy habits. And then like everything would be good. And I'm like, I mean, that would help probably. But also, as you'll hear in this question, that's not everything. And it sometimes is like a bridge. We can use these routines as a helpful bridge to wherever we're trying to get to, and like kind of the next level in our growth. But yeah, that was a big thing. Habit stacking, like figuring out a way to optimize your routine best and include as much as possible. But we don't really hear people talk about tearing them down, tearing our routines down. And I believe I'm here to get on my soapbox and argue that there is a time and a place to tear your routines apart, or to take them, or to dismantle them bit by bit. I think that's just as important as building the routine. Because what do we think? At least what I used to think was like, I'm going to build this routine and oh my God, it's so good and I'm really on it. And what? I'm going to do it for the rest of time? For the rest of my life? Like, otherwise I'm backsliding? That's kind of the mindset, is like, so if I stop this at some point, is the only possible explanation for why I'm not doing this anymore because I'm backsliding and I'm not like maintaining the level of joie de vivre that I used. I don't know, but yeah, so what if a routine is good for you in one stage of your life and then your life changes and it's not so good for you anymore? We can think big changes, moving cities, getting new jobs, but also just like you're not a student anymore and you're, entering the workforce, or it was summer and now it's winter. And so it doesn't work for you as well. I hear this all the time with people getting into relationships. I think it's so intriguing, like that. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but when I have friends that start dating and they get like a little bit panicked, a little frazzled, like, maybe they were single for a while and they got their routines really down and they felt like they were kind of doing their thing and they were on top of it. And then they start dating someone and then they want to see that person and incorporate that person more into their life. And then it's like, oh my God, but that means I'm giving up all this stuff in my life. And one thing I like to say is like, that's to be expected for a big life change, like getting in a relationship. That's a good thing if you are excited about something new and you want to put more of your focus towards it. It's also a stage, like the honeymoon stage. It's just a phase and it's going to pass. And so maybe you'll kind of slack on some of your personal routines a little bit at the beginning of a relationship. And as things stabilize, you kind of get back on it a little bit. And maybe it looks different because you work out with your partner now and you used to work out alone, but you come back to it in a big way. I think that's very plausible too, and happens for a lot of people. But it's just funny, like there's this resistance to change that we all have, and it can come up in these moments of like even good change. We're like, but what about my routine? What am I doing? And so two things I wanted to touch on, two specific like wording things from this question, are about like backsliding and losing a version of yourself. Because my thought with this is like, yeah, sometimes you actually will backslide, quote, air quotes. Okay, guys, like I don't really love that word for it, but I do want to talk to this part of the fear, which is like, you will backslide. Yeah, there's all these reframes I can bring, and I think sometimes we feel like we're backsliding when really we're just growing and changing and evolving. But also sometimes we really are kind of taking a couple of steps back, or it really feels that way. And for this, I say something I've probably said in episodes in the past, but we have to think about, I use this metaphor a lot for healing, but I think we can use it for a lot of different things, because most of the time we're not just like moving in like forward momentum, going straight the whole time. Like sometimes we're going to take a little detour. Sometimes we're going to hit it in reverse for a little bit. Sometimes we're just going to hit brake, and just put it in park. And things in life do that, where we just have to fully go on pause. And when we think about it, like if you're healing a cut or a wound, and you imagine that, your wound, it's making forward progress, it's closing a bit, it's scabbing over. Well, there's always times where the scab falls off or gets knocked off, and that kind of hurts, or you pull it off. And it seems a little bit like we lost ground, especially when you like hit something and it breaks the scab open again. It can feel like, oh shit, like I'm back where I started. Now I've got this like open wound again. But if we really look closely and we tracked it, if we were to take pictures day by day, there still is progress. And there is something, there is something to be learned and to be gained from the times that we've stepped forward, even if we feel like we step back off of it a little bit. So hopefully that kind of neutralizes the idea of backsliding, or normalizes it a little bit more as something that everybody goes through, and also I think has its place in our life. This is such a cliche example, excuse me, but it's a good one. You wouldn't look at a tree that loses its leaves and be like, damn, you were doing so good. You were so full. Why didn't you keep going? Now you've lost all your leaves. You're going to have to start over. Damn, that sucks. You wouldn't look at a tree and think that. So maybe borrow a little bit of that tree wisdom for how you talk to yourself. So sour. So then the other piece of this that I want to specifically speak to, the languaging that stood out to me, which is about finding yourself. Like in the question, this person says, like, I find myself wanting to relax a little bit more, and I'm wondering the difference between self-compassion and self-sabotage. So why I paired these together is that part of you that says, I kind of want to relax a little more. Like, I think I am going to sleep in a bit, and I'm maybe going to miss that workout class that I normally go to. That is the self-compassionate part. That is not self-sabotage. Self-sabotage could be, I'm going to stick on this routine so long that I will get burnt out and I will have to give it up completely, because now I've run myself into the ground and I actually have to dig myself back up out of the ground because I have pushed it so far. That would be more like self-sabotage. But allowing yourself a little bit of space and a little ease, and, loosening up the knots a little bit on how much you expect and how consistent you have to be, that is self-compassion. And, it's listening to your body, trusting your intuition, allowing for flexibility. Flexibility and flexible thinking is one of the best signs of a regulated nervous system. This is a good thing to me when this person is saying like, I was on it. I was in this rough spot and I built these routines from the ground up and I really was on it and it helped me a lot. And now I'm relaxing a bit. I'm like, that's good. That is what we want to see, because now you're doing you're on more solid ground. Your mind, your nervous system is able to kind of take a breath a little bit. And what happens when we're in that space is that then our perspective can widen and it's not so black and white and it's not such rigid thinking. And so when you notice that flexibility, take that as a good sign. So there's also a catch-22 here, which is a part of the kind of dualistic thinking that is more common when we're feeling a little bit threatened. So the catch-22 can be like, I'm mad at myself for even caring. Like, why am I so bothered by this? But I'm also mad at myself for feeling like I'm backsliding. So then we're stuck because it's like it's a lose-lose. And so that's, again, a place where this self-compassion can come in on like, was I going to do this until the day that I died? I care about it because these routines have really helped me out of a dark place. So it makes sense I would care. It makes sense that maybe a part of me would be feeling a little bit threatened and a little scared that I'm going to go back into that dark place. That is a big thing. It's like, if I loosen the reins, then I'm going to be depressed again or whatever. Makes sense where that comes from. It can be a little bit black and white again, because you've had all this time of building these helpful routines and doing your morning meditation and your movement practice and like getting more in tune with yourself through meditation, through journaling, getting to know yourself better, listening to yourself more. That's how you can even notice like, I don't actually want to go to the workout today. That is a muscle that you have flexed over and over again and built that maybe you didn't have so much before. So new muscles, new skills are available to you. You won't just go sliding back right to where you were before if you give yourself a little bit more grace. And all of the habits that you listed, this person listed, they're great things. I love it all. I do a lot of these things myself. But have we thought about maybe that if you've grown and you've learned and you've changed, that you don't need to limit your screen time as much because maybe you don't pick up your phone as much as you used to? Or maybe like a HIIT workout was really good for you, but now Pilates is feeling a little bit better. So it's still movement, it's just different. Or have you tried meditating at a different time of the day, right before sleep? Or even it's just time to take a little break from it. Because as with everything in life, there's moments to expand and moments to pause or contract. And both are really helpful. You might come back to your meditation practice in 6 months and be like, oh, I have a renewed sense of purpose with this. I'm connecting deeper, whatever. So have things really changed so much? Or maybe are you just someone new coming at how you want to do your life with a new frame of mind? And this is forever I said I was on my soapbox earlier, but like now I'm going to get on a secondary one. There's a soapbox on my soapbox, and it is about the fact that no one has the answers for you. I have a lot of feelings about the way that wellness is presented online. You guys are not new to this idea. And how demanding it can be. Like, on any given day, I might see 7 new supplements that I should take, why I should eat seasonally, how to cycle sync my work schedule to my menstrual cycle, how to uh, do 5 exercises to relax the vagus nerve, and you should do them for 20 minutes a day. That's one given day in this world online. And everyone promises that this is the key. This is it. You're going to do this breath practice and your life is going to be ecstasy all the time. Yeah, I don't think so. And no one has that answer. And honestly, if your life is just full of doing practices daily to make your life better, and that the consistency is the thing you're most focused on, never straying from the path, like, is it actually making your life better? And what are we all like fighting for? A couple extra months? No, I want the health for you. I want the movement practice. I want the clean eating, whatever floats your boat. I want it for you. I want it for myself. But sometimes we have to step back and be like, girl, I'm not going to outrun death. I'm not going to outrun discomfort. I'm not going to outrun negative emotions. It's not possible. So even if I was the most diligent motherfucker and I never missed a day and I never skipped a workout and I never slept in, I still would deal with those things because that's how life goes. And so as I climb down off of my secondary soapbox, I'll round things out a little bit for you and maybe put things in a little bit more of an actionable state in case you want to think more about this afterwards or take some steps. So what I would say to this person is to try new things out, like little experiments. Like maybe you're feeling a little bit more called to a softer, more flexibility focused workout or something. Just try it out one day a week and then you can do your other stuff the rest of the time. Like, don't think about it as like, I need to pivot and pick up something new or, stay on my exact path. Like, just use your days as little experiments. Maybe mix up. If you brush your teeth and then you do your 10-step skincare routine, maybe do your skincare routine and then brush your teeth just to mix it up. Maybe do 7 of the steps instead of 10 of them. Just see what you think, because you can always go back. And you were capable of building these routines even in like a lower place. So think about how strong you are, because you could build these habits when it was the hardest it's been. So remember that. Remember your own strength. Also, just reframing growth through more like permissive and nuanced thoughts, all the stuff I've been saying throughout this whole episode. Remember that rules serve a purpose in the short term, but they will always expire at some point. Or there are situations where the rule will not apply. There are always exceptions. So think about the things, the routines, the habits you build as a for now kind of thing. However long now is, I don't know. Some of it in certain forms, maybe that change over time will be with you for the rest of your life. Like, I really love yoga. I imagine I will do something yoga adjacent or stretching adjacent for the rest of my life if I can. But think about the more think about the more nitty gritty parts of what you're doing as a for now situation. And I'm going to do this until I just don't really want to do it anymore, or it's not working for me as much anymore. So that's all I got. I don't know what accent that is, but I hope that helped. As always, reach out to me and let me know what you think. If I missed something, if you feel like I said something totally off base or not true for you, like, I don't know, let me know in a kind and respectful manner, please. And tell me if this really resonated for you and maybe gives you a little bit more flexibility in your life. I think I definitely need this. I needed to answer this question because I think like this all the time, and it's hard because I get this fear response that comes up like, oh my God, what if I stop doing this thing, and like, what's going to happen to me? Am I not going to be as like good? Am I not going to be as healthy? Am I not going to be as happy with myself as I was at other points? So holding that with kindness too, and compassion as always. And until next time, text me your questions at 512-655-9888 and follow along on Instagram and TikTok. I'm up on there quite often, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.